Impressive, 10 times. Oh, come on in, Stoney. How are you? How's the day going? That's an impressive 10 times indeed. Indeed. Goddamn. Ah, apparently Discord is lagging again. Goddamn. That's a lot of lags. It happens though. That's all we need. That is all we needed. We have some news. As the title implies, marketing is really hard, and that's hard. It's hard. Marketing is the thing I hate the most, but also it's fine. It will happen. It needs to happen. And marketing is a lot of things, right? We kind of talked about that before. But yeah, marketing is a ton of different things aggregated together. Right now, I'm on TikTok marketing mostly. So that's limited, first of all. But yeah. I think we good. Not really. One more things to figure out. That's plugged in, that's working, that's the thing, I guess. I think the sound is gonna be okay. It's probably gonna break, but yeah, that's gonna be fine. That's gonna be fine. Oh, yeah, the whole thing has been marketing for the past 2 days, roughly. I have sent 120 messages, emails, DMs to people. So I don't know if they see it. I don't like that's the thing with TikTok messages, and the thing that you're doing is if you don't follow them and they don't follow you, you can't really send messages. You can send them one message, but you don't know if they see it, and you don't know if they reply to it and so on. They need to accept it, basically. So from all of that, I don't have a ton of replies. I've been having like a ton of replies, which is really good. But yeah, that's a lot of things. Frankie, hi, welcome in. Welcome back. How are you? How have you been? How's everything? It's been a while. It's been a while indeed. If I received, I forgot that. That's the thing that I forgot. Bane. The residency document. Ah. You need that? I'm surprised. I don't remember. I mean, also, I don't give a shit, so probably I just saw the thing. I submitted the documents right away because I don't care. So that might be the reason why I didn't. I don't remember. Uh, and frankly, that is good news, kinda. If it's just like As in, you solved something and then it appeared on a blog post because maybe you talked about it or maybe you made a search on Google or something. It doesn't really matter. But if that person in the blog post was like, um, I have this problem, I don't know how to fix it, you can just send the reply directly. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Did I file as a company? I might have. You know what? I don't know. I don't know. What's the problem about? I mean, I'm guessing based on the secondary message is something where you had an API that was used and then it's not used or available anymore. So that might be the thing, but hmm, hmm. I did not know that. Not that it's of any impact for me specifically, but I didn't know that HTML had like an API thing. Nah. But yeah, you have a way to define the web component so there appears no HTML elements like a table. That's cool. That might be a lot of use for a lot of people. Personally, have no understanding because, you know, HTML and CSS is not necessarily, I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. Like, I understand the structure. I don't necessarily understand the componentization of. So, you know, that's a thing. But if it works, I guess that's good. And if you have like the ability to reinsert components or define components directly in HTML, that's pretty cool. That's pretty useful. So, yeah, good job, congrats. That's, I mean, nothing short of a success, I guess. That's always a good thing. That's always a good thing. Brain. Yes, I can't show you, but yeah. Some news, small news, but some news. The first one being I talked about that on last stream and then I put it in place. When you're opening the perfume view for the first time, there is now a tooltip on top of the bottle itself so that you know that you can tap the bottles. Just a bit of a hint. I'm debating adding a secondary tooltip for the second time. Like, if you saw it the first time and then you just tapped on the bottle or you tapped on the tooltip without really realizing what you were doing, and then when you come back, you don't really know how to access the thing. Maybe that's something that needs to happen. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. That's the first thing. The second thing is in this view, the search button in the top right now is now highlighted so that people know that there is a search because apparently they can't see the search underneath. It also has an icon that is animated. I don't know why, but I did that. And it has a tooltip when you launch it for the first time. So that's the new thing. It just gives you a bit of a hint that, oh, you can search for perfume database to see if it exists. So that's pretty cool. And talking or speaking of the database itself, it also has this view now, which means that
Hannah Martius just resubscribed for 38 months.
I was right. That was about to be soon. Kate, welcome back. How are you? How's the day going? Thanks for the 38 month. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. That's a long time. That is a long time. God damn. God damn. So yeah, going back to this, we have this, which is pretty cool. So if you type something that doesn't make any sense, you have this thing, and then you have a button. You have a big ass button right there. That big ass button basically pre-fill the field for the name of the perfume. So if you were searching for something and it didn't return any results, you can then tap that button, pre-select or pre-enter the thing, and so that's the thing. I think yes. Um, I think you are, but also I don't know if I can see that somewhere. Can I see that somewhere? Uh, yeah, no, I just have the follower list, but I don't have anything here that gives me any uh recaps, and the role manager is the roles, so that's it. But I don't really have like anything else related to the subs. So yeah, I think you are part of the people that have like the longest one. Stony is like 3.5. You are technically at 3. So Stony is a bit above, but not too much. Um, and yeah, that's weird. I know. I agree. Like, there should be something where in there I have like the list of the people that are currently subbed, but no. Um, Apparently that's not the case. So I don't know. Yeah. Watch streak. Stony's the longest sub streak. I think Stony might be the longest. Um, what? Yeah. You are from 2021 and Stony's from 2022, officially speaking. So, you know, have a good meeting then. Have a good meeting. Meetings are good. They happened. They happened. Um, but yeah, I think you are one of the oldest one. So that's also like kind of new. I decided to change the selected or pre-selected sections in the gender and concentration. So before that, there was like a select, something that was just, asking you to select something. But now by default, I have unisex selected, which makes a lot of sense. And the concentration, parfum or parfum is the usual thing, the most common concentration, at least for me. So I just have that. And then the year selection is now a break the wheel picker, which makes sense. So that change. That's pretty good. Other than that, that's about it. I think I haven't made any other changes. Am I lying? I might be lying. One second. No, I'm not lying. Uh, no, everything that I talked about last time on Monday is now added. So that's the only thing that has changed since then. The app has been validated by Apple, so now it's live on the store, which is pretty cool. So 1.04 is available for anyone that is using the app, which is pretty cool. And the current debate even though I don't want it, but it happens. In terms of the app potentially becoming something like a recognized brand in the industry of perfumes and so on for specifically TikTokers and other influencers, marketing and so on, I will probably need to have some sort of a social aspect, kinda. And so, as I said in the beginning, I don't want any social features inside of the app, but right now, the thing that I'm thinking about is potentially giving the users the ability to have something that would look like this as an export, so that you have the olfactory profile, the bottle, the notes, and the name in an exportable PNG. So something that can be shared on like socials and so on could be really useful for growth and for reach, because some people could have like just the simple fact of sharing that screenshot type of thing would work. The thing is, right now it's working for me in terms of the distance, the size and all that, kind of not really, because I'm on the 15 Pro Max. But if you're on the 15, you don't have enough space at the bottom. If you are on something that is smaller, like the 13 mini, you can't see the title. So you would be basically around here for what you can see. So that's really not good. So the idea right now, or at least for tomorrow, is to create or generate a, a view that just extract this section and allow you to share that through social and so on. So I don't know if I will do that. I just know that it would be useful for marketing, reach, potentials, and so on. The only thing that is kind of annoying is that in some situation and in some perfumes, like this one, for example, the view itself adds nothing because the chart doesn't really recognize the notes themselves. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a bit of a dilemma in right now from what I'm seeing. So I I'll I'll check it out. I'll check more details. The thing that I have and the other like not references, but like yeah, I mean I guess references um is when we are looking at like other brands, these are the cars that we have. Like you have something that would take the perfume bottle and then the notes right here, and or the one that we took in the beginning as a reference. Something like this is basically what would make sense for me. So I might do something like this. I know that they are doing stuff with like only 6 notes as the most prominent notes. Same thing here, and then some other data. I don't think this is useful for me, so I might not have that, and I might just have like um, only the notes themselves, and then the QR code and the logo itself to brand stuff out. But yeah, that's the current situation, and a lot of people are doing a screenshot of this plus screenshot of this right now. So basically, what that teaches me is that a lot of people are just looking for the notes and the image related to the notes, which is what I've been working on here, these things. And so once I have that, the potential of doing this is an option. And if I go to Figma, which is the other one, um, same thing, that's going to be fine. They are doing the exact same stuff. They're taking this image as a reference, and then they're taking a screenshot of these notes right there. So it's the same concept. Apparently, most of the thing that I'm seeing are combination of the bottle and the notes. So we'll see what we can do. Um, but yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, but it might go against what I wanted to do in the first place. Just because I didn't want to have like any not marketing, but like any social platforms things. The fact that I could have a share button. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. But we'll see. That's where we are. At least right now, that's the current state of things. I feel like it's gonna be okay if I have some shareable screens things just for the sake of having them. Um, but yeah, it's not the main point. It's not the thing that I want to have all the times. So, or at least not front and center. So we'll see. We'll see. But we have at least we have that working. The search is working. The recommendations are working as well. And I changed some of the algorithm thingy here and there. So that's a good thing. That is a good thing so far. So yeah. Um, what was I about to say? I was about to say something, and then my brain just said, "You know what? No. What was that?" Oh yeah, I had my blood test today. I don't have the results yet, so we'll see. But I'm guessing everything is fine, as always. I went yesterday. Basically, I went there at 5 because I thought it was fine. So I took off from here at like 4:40 or something, and I arrived there at 5-ish, like almost exactly 5, and they were closed. They just closed in front of my eyes. Like basically the lights turned off and the door closed with the woman that was just closing the office um, when I arrived. So that's no good. So I went back this morning. And now I have a bit of a bruise right there, which makes sense. You know, that's how it works. That's how blood droning works. So yeah. Nonetheless, I have spent a bit of time yesterday, specifically last night, on Twitter and specifically on stuff um, that I liked, and I'm so sorry. There is a lot. there, there is a lot. I said there was not a lot on Monday, and there was some, but not like too much. Today, I don't know how much things happened, but things happened. We basically stopped here on Monday, and we have so much more stuff that have been displayed. So that's good news. As always, I'm gonna go over most of them. Some of them are really, really simple with the sense of this is the pastel thing that I'm talking about for the past few years, and it's just coming back really, really strong. But there is a lot of issues here um, that this accessibility gray is not good. What do you mean, no more social medias? I need that. It's where I spend most of my days. But yeah, no, this one is pretty interesting. They are doing the airplane mode stuff, which makes sense. So that's the thing. We've had some of the anime stuff that have been coming back, which makes sense. This is interesting. This is something that we talked about kind of briefly last month. Um, it is apparently an addition for VS Code / cursor to give you access to iOS builds directly inside of cursor and VS Code, which is not something that we should or were able to do. So that's good. Not necessarily just the syntax, but also like the build. So for you, Stony, specifically, for example, if you're looking for the ability to build something natively for iOS and build it without having a Mac, that might be an option, that might be a thing. So that's the reason why we are looking at these things for sure. So, small details, small stuff, it could be good. It could be good. Um, we've seen that Balatro thing is pretty fun to take a look at. But yeah, VLC is not working. That's it. Um, it's just not working. Working on Android? Is that what you're trying to do? This is very interesting. We talked about it before. It's a bit of a big contrast in styles. They are bringing and merging things that are not necessarily the stuff that we are expecting. So the navigation itself is using a very specific set of icons, which to me don't match together. Like specifically the play button doesn't match with the rest, but that's just a me thing. It doesn't really matter. And this whole thing at the bottom is really flat. But then they have something that is new skeuomorphic type with some recessed and indented and stuff for that secondary navigation here. This is something that is mostly for Techie and Kyoto's when their environment's kind of similar with like circles and so on. But then they are using aqua-ish, candy-ish things for the buttons and the other elements of the app. So they are combining a lot of design styles that usually don't work together, which is the reason why it is memorable, but it doesn't mean that it is good. I think overall the design styles and the design choices are pretty nice and they work, but it's just potentially negative in some cases just because of how things are behaving in other apps. But that is the only thing. I needed to talk about this one specifically, mainly because I know that street. When I was in Japan, I walked through there, so I know where that is. But this is the posters of Figma in Japan right now, and I have a bit of an issue with how they look for many reasons, but the most important one, at least for me, is the fact that they are a designer-based company, right? And the user experience of that poster doesn't make any sense. So if you look closely, you might see what I'm talking about. If you don't, you might not. This is a cool visual thing, right? It makes sense, it's fun, whatever. We have the graphics and so on. Everything is really nice. The layout is cool. Nice. They have this on the floor. I don't think anyone is gonna bend down to try and scan this thing. And if they do, it's the committed one, which is fine. But if you want people to take a look at what it is, you kind of want this to be at head level, which is roughly around here. So if they had decided to move that title and or simply the footer to put it as a header to structure the layout, that could have been way more interesting and way more useful and usable from a user point of view, because you walk through, you see the thing, it tracks your eyes, you see the QR code, you flash it, you move on. Whereas here, you see the thing, it catches your eyes, you move on because you don't see anything that is like interactable, interactivable at head level. You just see the big ass title, and then you move on. So that's something to think about. That's the only thing that I wanted to point out on this one, because it's kind of sad to see that this company that is a design company, usually like meant for well, designers and accessibility and so on, not thinking about the usability of a poster inside of real life. I do understand that in potentially other placements of this poster, the footer would be at high level because that also happened. But that's usually not the case. So, small details. Small details that we've seen. Um, we had this from Valentin, which we talked about it. That whole prototype was basically displayed on the screen where I was as well. I think it was just before mine, and yeah, very fun to see as well in the posters, in things. I think this one was just because it's straight, not straight situation, so I just saved that. This is what I want to have when it comes to the transition, and I can't figure it out. Just the ability to zoom in and transition the background and the content and everything is such a better way of presenting like your perfumes, your books, your whatever. Ah, I wish I could. I don't have the skills. That happens. That happens. Flighty has been updated. That's it. Nothing else to say. Um, we've had again some of the Japanese. I don't know how to call this style anymore. Like it's the Asian design. I can't say anything. Um, but yeah, it's harder for me to read, but I still can read. Kinda. So that's something. Going back to this one is the same thing. We've had the same discussion as before, where if the first image doesn't really have the app itself inside of it, um, it just has a better conversion rate for some fucking reason. So that's something. And right now they are changing. It says that they have a 13% conversion rate improvement. So that's good. But again, if they changed other things, maybe there is another impact. But if it's just this, what is the difference? What is the analysis that we can have here to really understand what made it more performant? Is it because we don't have the social media first? Is it because of how they have highlighted the text? Is it just because the design is better? I don't know. Like I would need like more information for this to make sense. Um, I I saw this, and this was weird to me. So they said that they have changed or made the decision to just uh, change the layout of the app. And so when you're switching from one to the other, it's not as apparent what happened. But basically, the original has the settings right here, more button, plus button, and cover and gallery. And then here they have a more button, the plus button, and then the settings is on the main navigation. That is something that is going against Apple's directives and what they have said in the past for how to design good navigation. Um, Basically, the main point was in your main navigations, you want the tabs that the user need to access the most often, um, and or the main features that cannot be bundled into something else. So your covers, your gallery make sense, and the initial navigation here makes a lot of sense. And if there is no profile, there is a need for setting button, that's for sure. But maybe their plus button could have been in the navigation in the center. And I would have, as always, because of how people are used to things, I would have my settings in the top right instead of the top left. for this thing. But yeah, that's a small thing which is interesting that they made the decision to have the settings in the main navigation. Other than that, that's it. That's for cross keys. Specifically for cross keys, I think this is really good representation and presentation of what needs to happen for their portfolio if they have the time to work on that. So, small stuff, interesting. Um, we've had this. I'm impressed by this. It looks really good. The torn paper element and then the writing is also like pretty impressive in terms of how it looks natural. So yeah, cool stuff. Again, this is really simple, but it works, so we like it. It works, so we like it. We've had some other things that I have a lot of debates about, as said before. That seems too close to this to be a sketch made before, and then I don't really understand why there is a fucking bill on top. Like, that makes no sense. And it's coming from this one, which looks more natural. So this is something that is probable in terms of what we have and what we are creating when we are sketching stuff. Um, like the difference in between the two is really good because you can see all of the improvement, all of the notes, all of the stuff, and then it looks similar, but it doesn't look the same. Whereas this one, the curve is almost the same, the car presentation is almost the same, the placement of things is exactly the same, and so that's just kind of why I'm saying it's kind of look fake. But that's the only reason. Nonetheless, good thing to have sketches in your presentation. So we do like it. We do like it. That is 3D. That's a 3D rendering of scrambled eggs, and I'm again I'm impressed. Lately, I've been more impressed by 3D rendering than anything else, because they have achieved something that is really good. The salad is really bad, but the eggs, the bread is fine, the meat is really good. So, yeah, good stuff to see, like the progress we've made in the past few years, specifically in Blender and how things are used. So, you know, moving on. Um, we've had that one which was pastel. This thing is coming back up in my feed. Wasn't in my feed for a long time, and now it's back. So for the people that are into like note taking and reading and so on, um, that's a tool. I don't know if it's good. I just know that they have made it pretty good. So, you know, that's it. Nothing else. Nothing else about that. Um, we've had these things, which we talked about before. These are the trend of colors that are gonna kind of transfer the AI stuff. So we used to have the blue and the purple, and then we moved to the blue and the pink and the purple, and now we have the blue, the purple, the orange, and a bit of pink. And if you look at Apple's implementation, they are adding a bit of green as well. So a lot of people are trying to recreate these gradients to be a bit more soft or a bit softer than what we currently have. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing to see the transition and the direction in which people are going toward. So yeah, that's a thing. That is a thing. This one, I think, Stony, was kind of for you, but also for Yan at the same time. This is React Native, and they have achieved the same level of transition as the native transition types on both platform. So that's a pretty impressive thing. I know you're not using React or React Native anyways, but you know, pretty impressive, the fact that you can achieve this. So just wanted to point it out. Just wanted to point it out. Um, this one is very simple, but that doesn't make any difference. They have made the decision to do something that we haven't talked about in a long time. So the tabbed design that we had talked about at some point, where you have a card and then you have a card inside of a card and so on. You can or you can see here that they have like a very drastic gradient in the background for the red at the top and the almost transparent at the bottom. So that's a good thing. Yeah, that's not the same thing. That is not the same thing. It's not a view transition, it's the zoom transition from iOS that is basically ported to React Native. Um, so that's a tad different than the view transition. But yes, it is a view. It is a transition between views, but not a view transition, if that makes sense. Um, kind of similar. Anyways, I saved this one for one simple reason. When people were basically saying that the Lando Norris website was crazy and they don't know how to do it, it's one click in Unicorn Studio, specifically because they just worked on the mask magic again. And yeah, nothing else. Like it's just a fucking one time click and then you're done. So very simple. Very simple. That's a small cat. Yeah, it's basically the outcome is almost the same to the native thing, but yeah, it's just the React Native part of it. That's it. That is it. Uh, this one is just simply only for the fact that they have used or they are creating something that uses stickers for the branding itself. So going back to what I was saying last week, stickers everywhere. That is basically what's happening. So if you are building something and you are adding stickers, you are basically in the trending situation. If you're not adding stickers, you're not. It's fine. You don't need stickers, but stickers are cool and people like them. So, you know, maybe add stickers. Maybe. I don't know. These ones were really cool. We have seen very similar buttons in the past. And one of the most important thing here is the fact that the text itself is taking the same color scale as the background itself, but way darker to have the good contrast ratio. But these ones are pretty nice. I'm not sure about the border that is a bit too dark for my liking, but they are still cool. Still cool to look at. That doesn't change anything. So, yeah. We had this thing that is pretty impressive from Rive as a like as always adding a lot more features here and there, so that's really neat. And then I think I'm reaching the end of the preview of all of the thing that we have so far. Um, this one is a really cool transition. That's it. It combines so much. It combines the text appear, which is a bit too much. It combines a slide transition, a fade transition, and a bit of a blur transition on appear. So that's a very good thing to think about. Like if you decompose everything, it's just going from on click, release each and every one of the entries, and then when the like the last entry that you want to display has left the bound underneath, the text at the top is going to be released as well to just arrive to its position at the same time as the bottom one. So that basically is an anchor of both so that your eyes recognize that this whole section is the same thing. That's the top and bottom linkers that just helps. It's the same thing when it's moving out. They move exactly at the same pace. So that's again going back to the discussion that we had with Kamil last week. Same situation. It's really interesting and good to know how these keyframes are working or need to work. So yeah, just mentioning that. This one was just the button itself is a very AI button for something that is not necessarily AI based. So that's interesting. And then we had these icons. Sebastiano has been doing a lot of icons lately, specifically the pixelated icons, which are really good. The website that he's using right now to display the icons is exactly what I wanted to have for the Mom UI kit and the icons themselves. So at some point, we'll do that. At some point, we'll do that for sure. But yeah, not now. Right now, I'm on the marketing things, and that takes a while. That is taking a while. In the things that I wanted to do in Figma that are a bit crazy, but could be interesting. Who is that? I think I saved it, but I have a feeling now that it's not gonna be accessible really quickly. Sadly. I have a piece of stairs that I kind of want to bake inside of Figma just because of the lights and the way that it looked. I just wish I could just find it. When was it though? Also, that's a thing, yes. There's a lot of things on threads that are just really interesting overall for UI related content, but I'll show you for many reasons. Many reasons, too many reasons, to be honest. That feels like it's well, it's just 3 days ago, so that feels okay, I guess. Uh, can I find it though? Apparently I can't. Was this last week and not like at the beginning of this week? I guess it was, based on how many scroll I'm doing right now. So basically, it is a set of stairs at night. It's the glass, and there is a pedestrian walking in front, which is pretty nice composition overall. And I wish I could just find it, but no. That is always the case. Nox, we're coming in. Everyone is getting 10 today. Everyone is getting 10 today. We're on. How's the day going? How is everything? I can't find this thing. That makes no sense. The reason why I know it's on Threads is because it had the spoiler hidden thing that I do remember that I had to click on it to get access to the picture itself, but obviously I can't find the thing. That makes no sense. If only they loaded like more than 10 posts at a time for me to just, scroll through, that would help, but no. Threads is shit when it comes to accessibility and usability for looking for stuff that you have liked in the past, because goddamn. And again, I don't know their names, so I don't have the ability to just look for them. Oh, that makes no sense. That makes no sense. If it's not here, though, that's the thing. If it's not here, where did I find it? I don't know. Like, that's for sure not on Twitter. For sure. I can't find it. That's crazy. That's crazy. I feel like I kept it, but apparently I didn't. Oh my god. Well, that happens. The sadness. It was a potentially very good Figma creation, to be honest. Uh, but no. Where else could this be? I don't think there is any other place where that could happen. Uh, so, have I liked so much stuff that it's so deep down in the thing? No. No, it's not. Well, sad. Sad, sad, sad. We had these ones, but these ones are like. I'm not saying that they are boring, but they are not necessarily the hardest thing to create, specifically for me. They are good representation of fonts and typography in general, like characters and so on. Um, but yeah, that's like a 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. Yeah, that's a 4-layer situation. We can make it in more layers, but I don't think. Oh, apparently I'm offline for a new file. That's crazy. So, if we do that, as pointed out, so I can do this in potentially 3 formats. I think the easiest is going to be this one, so I'm going to do that first because it kind of works. So we have a situation where our background needs to be first, right? We need to have this right about here. It takes the entirety of the background, and then it's going to be underneath everything. We don't need to see it. I'm going to make it to the top right there. That makes sense. The second one is the addition that is going on top. So that is going to come from the center point right there to that level. And then we will crop things and move stuff around. And then lastly, the smallest one at the bottom is going to be right here. From here to there. That's our layers. Cool? Cool. So that one is taking this color, that one is taking that color, and that one in the background is taking this color as a base. That's going to be simple. Our image itself is going to be locked and probably 40% opacity so that we can see the details. This one is going to have a lot of radius to match. Interesting. Interesting point. Bitch, why are you not working? It's not a full radius. That's good. That's good. It doesn't really matter though. We just need this. The radius is going to be based on the line that comes on top. So that's a very additional thing. This one though is the thing that we need to have. So this is going to go down up to roughly here. And then we need that. We need that element right here to get its radius as well. So we can have not that. We can have the angle. This one needs to be kind of good or kind of correct compared to the previous one, the one that is above. It doesn't really need to be like perfect, but kind of need to be good enough. And then that point is going to go down and we're going to have roughly that inside. Yeah, I could have done that a bit faster. Would have been faster. And then lastly, this one, same concept, same situation. God damn. Basically, the thing that I want to have is the angle right here to be pretty good, so that the match. Cool. Yeah, Ryan, hi. Welcome on in. How's the day going? How is you? Looking at how and why, the thing is not necessarily flat. In the beginning, I was thinking maybe I could just do this, having them in the center and be done with it. But yeah, it's probably not going to work for what we're trying to achieve here. But we'll see. I see. That's bad. We had a bar, I guess, that had a similar thing. Like it was an old prison and they changed it to be a bar instead. And a lot of people were saying the exact same thing. So I get it. I get it. I really feel like Figma has changed most of its fucking keybinds, and that's driving me crazy. Mizzy, welcome on in. How's the day going? How are you? Oh, you know what? No, you don't. But you know what? That could work. Huh. That could work. Kinda. Um, so that's basically the thing that we need, right? 32 is roughly what is necessary. The thing that I'm thinking about right now is how can we make sure that like transformation for the curve itself matches what we are expecting uh, from the output. Sorry. What I don't like is this. Uh, this makes no sense. That's option number one, which I don't like. Option number two is to flatten that segment a bit bigger than expected and then compress it. So I would basically require myself to end up here with the compression. So have all of my points be removed so that they don't really bother me when I'm trying to get like the transitions, these ones. And then I would need this to be a bit bigger and this one to be a bit bigger as well, just for the sake of this. And probably, I would say 40 might be a bit too big, so I'm gonna go with 38. I mean, I guess 40 is fine. 40 is fine. And also have a good dinner. I'd just, so that. Oh my god. That makes no sense. Yeah, I mean, I'm on the right keyboard. Why are things not how they are expected to be? God damn. That's crazy. It's crazy. Anyways. So that's one way to do it. It's not necessarily the best way, but it works. I can fake stuff here and there, but it's fine. It's fine. So with that, as long as I make this clipping, oh, ta-da, I have everything. Basically took 5 clicks to get the entire thing to work. And then here, based on what we had and the changes and so on, we can 100% just move that in a bit more than expected. Mm-hmm. So from there, what we know is that we have an element that is supposed to be that very dark color inside with a gradient, linear gradient, or radial gradient specifically here, I think, with the thing opposite. So right about there, it's going to here, and that opposite color right now is using the exact same color, which is not exactly what we want to have. We want to have that kind of light color going at 0% so that it does the transition pretty well. And we just need to have this somewhere around there. We know that that color right here is in need of more saturation. So we're gonna just bump that a bit and make sure that we have the right transition in where we are. this one, I would say it would be an easy fix to just do a simple linear gradient on this one. It works. It seems it will work. So I'm just going to change that to a linear gradient, flip it as much as it needs to be flipped, and just play with that. So this is going to be that color. That is going to be that transition color. And then in my center here, I need this. And then that basically needs this. It's roughly from the inside-ish, so I'm gonna do that and bump the lightness a teeny tiny bit. Not necessarily exactly what it has, but just playing with the transitions to make them look a bit better. That's very simple. Same thing on this one. It's a very simple transition. It has two colors, and the third one that you're seeing in that angle is roughly because of the blurred element that is on top. So we'll see if I can do that easily. I don't know. I think yes. But yeah, that color right there. Based on the bottom, I would say it could have been something like a radial instead, but I don't know. Hmm. I see. Hmm. That's the issue that I had before, which is going to be the same thing, but I need a secondary fill basically underneath that's going to take the color itself to get our transition to be working. Otherwise, it's not going to be good enough. And that whole thing can be placed in a multiply version, basically. That's roughly what happens. To get the transition, that's the goal. That is the goal. And lastly, I would say this needs somehow the thing that might be a bit complex. We need a drop shadow that's going to be white to highlight the center element. So all of that, and it's going to be at like 2 and 1 in distance, probably, or 2. And it needs -1 to highlight the center right here. That we have our effect. The background for this is supposed to be white-ish. So white-ish it is. And then the thing that is a bit more complex to do is going to be the transition for these sections. So we have like a need for a blob right about here, which is probably going to be a radial gradient right about there. That does like a white at 1% situation. It's schizophrenic. Hi, welcome in. I use Figma right now, but it depends on the day. I use both. And now we need a background blur, which is supposed to be progressive based on this, and our center end side. That the thing in question that we kind of need, but that's going to be kind of wild to have, specifically because of that. So we'll see. See. And then this thing is going to have a layer blur of, I guess, 100 as well. Or, and that's going to be a bit more annoying to do, but feasible. I have a layer blur progressive 100 right about here. That's the issue. Because of that transition thing and the fact that the shape itself is going outside inside thing, our ability to just get the proper transition is going to be a bit of a pain in the ass. Not gonna lie. To be honest, it doesn't really matter. It's mostly that one that needs to have the transition. The others, I don't really care. This one kind of needs the same thing. So I'm going to use the same element for the transition, drop it in, probably change that value to like 80 instead of 100. I could go down. Apparently I can go down. That needs to be somewhere around here, because we need it to be working on the longest section but without touching this, at least not right now. And we kind of need to do the exact same thing on the other side, and I don't know if I can, based on like layer blur is not an option anymore, and that's what pisses me off, because in order to get this to work and to get the effect as it needs to be, I kind of need to split that element in two, and by doing so I'm gonna remove stuff and I don't like it. So yeah. It's interesting to highlight here because of the amount of blur that I added on this. It's also a matter of this gradient being a gradient for real. So instead of having no color differences at the bottom, that makes a lot more sense. It feels like it's gonna be easier for me to just do this, and I don't like this. I don't like this because of that. They always do the same fucking thing. I don't like that transition. I don't like that transition, but it works. From far away, it's fine, which is bad. That's not what we want to see. That is not what we want to see. Um, that highlight makes no sense. It makes no sense. Let's bring these up for safety's sake. I don't think it will change anything, but we never know. It helps. It helps that transition specifically because it doesn't highlight the background itself. So you can basically just reuse this instead, because that's gonna work-ish to our advantage. And then I can play with the highlighted section because it needs to be a bit less based on the transition and the perception of how it is. It needs to be a bit less dark compared to the others. So I'm just going to transition that right there. Again, I could have used radial gradient, the same radial gradient that we used here with the rotation, that will also have worked based on how it kind of look around here. But yeah, that's a pretty good thing. So this is the top section. This is the one that we need to basically move. These points, god damn it, that's the wrong point. I shouldn't have done that. Because that thing is the one that take the gradient here. The reason why it pisses me off is because it needs to not cut right there with the drop shadow, and we can't really have that not there. So we could clip it differently, and we could clip it in the center instead to get more better transition. It's gonna be okay. So we can do the exact same thing on this one. So then my bottom section is blurred, and I have the transition that we need. It's a bit strong, but we have the transition that we need right there. Right around here. So that's neat. The drop shadow though. Something is missing. two things are missing, technically. The first thing that I see is that this section is not good. That happens. And we need grain, because the picture is shit. The initial picture quality is kind of bad, so it doesn't work. There is a need for something that is a bit sharper based on the angle that we have. There is a duality of the angle from that edge to the center of that fold that needs to happen. And then overall, there is a bit of a blob section in the center, so I can just play with that. You know, things like this. Things like this. And then that has a noise. Let's do white and 1%. I feel like that's gonna be white at 1% might not give us enough noise to go on top. Yeah, it doesn't. There. That looks better. More aligned, at least. At least more aligned. It's pretty nice. It's not much, but it's pretty nice. You know, that happens. I need to pee. 1 second. There's still something that pisses me off, but that's fine. Basically, what is pissing me off is the fact that the edge right here is also supposed to have some sort of a gradient blur thingy for its transition. And therefore that implies that the top also needs some blur-iness. So that's the thing. Like it needs to be here, kinda, and just to go up to here, kinda. Mm. That works. It works. But it's not good. It is not. It's not good. That's better. Better placement for that edge. The noise is really shitty. I mean, if you zoom on it, I know you're not supposed to zoom on the noise, but goddamn, that's not what I call noise. I know that when you are like pixelating the view, it does render properly and you're good with your noise, but goddamn, does it look weird? Um, yeah, I guess. I guess. I guess that's one of them. Not much, but you know, could still do that. I know it doesn't matter, but yeah. It is simple. Nonetheless, that feels weird. That feels wrong. um, in the things, we still need to work on these at some point, maybe. I don't know. Um, some of them are going to be very, very simple. As we mentioned, that makes no sense. You know, that is the reason why I'm not working on them, because this is the easiest thing to do, but it also doesn't make any fucking sense. Like the output of this in terms of how it is perceived from an outsider point of view is not right. Like this is not exactly how a sprout with two leaves are supposed to be. So yeah, that is the reason why I'm still lagging on these. It just most of them don't make any sense. Other than simply have like one of the part being like darker, it doesn't change anything, and I don't like that concept most of the time. So yeah, that's the reason. Like these ones, for example, have so many details. If we go back to like the 1 point line, they have small adjustments and stuff that make them good in terms of eye code for what they are representing. If I'm doing this in some sort of a solid point of view, it needs to be basically the opposite of what it is currently, and that's just not necessarily a good idea. Um, it's a matter of basically taking the inside section and doing that as a cut, but then you have a cut on top of the solid one, so that's like kind of complicated, kind of. Um, so yeah, like that's where and why I haven't done much on these, because that's the cut that needs to happen. This one is supposed to be right here. Cutting, cutting, cutting. So if I'm using the same values, and that's kind of wrong, but fine. Um, even I should just do that, because that would not necessarily be an issue. I can just do that, have a feel, be good, and then take these, put them at like 1.5 to have my cuts, and then place them properly, kinda. Does it still look like a brown bag? I doubt it. That's the issue that I have with it. Like, it's fine, but it's not great. Hmm. I mean, it looks fine-ish. That's the thing. It's just fine-ish. It's not good. It's not good. If I got one, it would be better for the details and the presentation, but it's also not necessarily something that is recognizable from far away, specifically in pixelated view. So, you know, I guess that's okay. But that's it. That's the issue. It's just okay. Hmm. See, that's like some of them, maybe. Like that's fine by me. Like the center needs to be filled, and that makes sense, and it would be somewhat of a can situation. So I'm okay with this. But is it good? No. Does it work? Yeah. Yes, it does. But most of these makes no sense. Like I talked about that before. It's just most of these icons, in order to, or most of the icons that we have, specifically in Solid, when you have like a different thing, let's use this one as an example because that's going to be easy. If I'm using that as a starting point for an icon, right? And I want to make it solid in terms of how it is, and I simply, God damn it, I simply do this, right? I'm gonna use pure white for the example, but like I'm simply doing this. It's fine, but now it has way too much weight compared to the previous one. So in order to match this, I might need to just diminish the outline to 1 point, or potentially even diminish the outline to like 0.5, so it's even smaller, but you can still see the details. And all of that so far is stuff that I haven't really done on other icons in solid mode. So basically I've done half of them for no reason, or with no real impact that is good or bad. It's just like some of them are good, some of them are bad, but like most of them are not necessarily how they should be, or how they should look. So complicated. It is complicated. Indeed. Which again, I feel like the icons themselves in solid mode are not necessarily the thing that you want to have by default. Like it doesn't really matter. It's useful. No doubt there. It's useful if you have them, but it's not necessarily the thing you want. So, you know, or you don't know. I also have done some of them at different times. So, for example, this one is 2 points in the line height, and these ones are 3 points, which the 3 points makes more sense for solid icons. But it also creates a bit of a weird gap right here, which is not a gap but should be a gap. So I need to basically downsize that line to be roughly around here. Like that's I would say that's the potential goal, to have the opening being like roughly 1 pixel when it's pixelated. And all of that need to happen in a way that makes sense, but also these icons needs to be outlined like these ones are, and not combined. And right now they are mostly combined, so it's a mess. That's all I'm saying. The solid icons are a full mess, and it's a waste of time. It's not. It's a waste of time. For me to work on these when I should work on the rest of these UI kits when I have the time, I don't have the time. But, you know, at some point, maybe. Maybe.
Props_TV raided my stream with 26 viewers.
Props, welcome on in. How are you? How is the stream? How's everything? Thanks a lot for the raid. I appreciate it. Those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Aoe. I'm the helping designer. So if you have any design question, as always, feel free to ask. I'm currently struggling with icons, as always. But yeah, it's easy. Welcome on in. How's the day? How's everything? I feel like we don't have sound alerts twice. I'm kind of sad about that. But welcome on in. I'm good. Fresh-ish, yes. I don't like the hair. I went in, I asked for something. Yeah, for sure. I want that. Also, we have some spaps, apparently. I don't know what spap is, but we have some spap. That happens. Spap happens. Spappens, yes. But yeah, no, overall is it's really not good, that haircut. I don't like it, and specifically because where I had it from, let me just show you the initial thing, and props as always, if you want to share a link in chat, feel free to do so. My base structure, the thing that I used as reference was this, which makes sense. It's the thing that I've been looking at for a long time. It's the color that I like, and also like the cut is pretty good. However, I don't have any other viewpoint from their face, and this haircut works mostly, even though this is AI generated, mostly from the front, and also that's very naked people. It's fine. I don't mind. It has this thing. Let me show you directly. It's gonna be fine. So if I go back to where it's supposed to be, which is like center split kind of thing, I turned into a mushroom, and it's just bad. It's just bad. So I need to get like one half like I did before until I have enough length to be basically at my jawline to be able to have them on both sides again. So that's going to take like 3 months. And that's the main issue. The other thing is because we used that haircut as a base combined with this one, because it's basically the same thing. They have different faces for sure. They have different hair types. Like my hair are mostly like this, a bit like wavy, but not too much. Theirs are really straight, so it ends up with a lot of issues. So yeah. Video context. I made a stream design for a client, interesting, but for recording with OBS. I just show the scene one after the other. Start intro with topic, camera, desktop with different camera size, pose, and end screen with contact information. And that's a video. Oh, you have sound. You have sound. That's pretty neat. Hmm. All right. So the Animated background is really cool. The font that you used is really cool. The animation you have at the beginning on this is really nice. It's a nice touch. It doesn't need to be like that drastic and so on, but like that's neat. However, you are doing things that I personally don't like, but that's a me thing. Don't worry about it. Um, Here, I don't like this. The reason why I don't like it is dang. So if you look at the transition that I have on stream when I'm going from this screen to this screen, my camera itself is resizing properly. Like the mask that is applied is resizing properly from point A to point B. And so um, that is the thing that it's the camera transition that I don't like. I like to have good transition between scenes specifically so that my elements are properly transitioning from scene to scene without having to like do that glitch that it just did with um with that transition right there like that. I get it though, but there is something in that transition that is not necessarily good. And then this one is good because it's just zooming in and out of the same thing. But then when you're coming back, it's kind of, I don't know, there's something missing. Um, but I get it. I get it. Overall, really good. Nothing really important to say other than it's pretty good. You have good font, good background, good at teeny tiny animation things. If it's not necessarily for like going live streaming, it's good. If it's for, you know, um, going live, eh, might want to have some changes. Anyways, let me show you what I'm talking about. So, if I had, um, let's add a color source for now so that it's going to be the easiest thing to do. I know I'm on macOS, so it's a bit different than what you have if you are building the stream overlay on in OBS directly on Windows, but it's basically the same output. It doesn't really matter, it's the same thing. So let's add a color source. It doesn't matter the name, but it's fine. I'm just going to create this. I'm going to be gray for a split second. And so let's make that smaller and in the center of the screen so that we're good. It's center, it's fine. Good. So in order to get the shape that you want to have, you want to add a filter, and that filter is going to be the advanced mask filter by Finite. That alone is going to give you the ability to say, oh, my output is going to be I don't know, a 1080 by 1080 because you want it to be kind of squared in some situation. So let's do 1080 by height is 1080, right? So we have a square in the center, and that's what we need to have, what we need to play with. So that's basically, um, yeah, yeah, exactly 1080 center, whatever. From there, you want to change the corner radius to be custom corner radius because of how you have your effect. So you know that your top left is going to be something like, I don't know, let's say 100 because of how I have resized the things, meaning that my bottom right is going to be 100 as well. Right, same thing. And then, because I know that my top right and bottom left needs to be bigger, I'm going to use, I don't know, let's do 200 instead. Um, Not enough. 250? Let's do 250 instead uh, to have like that shape that you have, right? So now I have this view, this thing. Um, You have the ability to just say, this is going to be a specific type of crop or specific type of value for this version of the camera. So the camera right now is the square camera that you have, and that's all you need, basically. So from there, I'm just adding a move value plugin thing, and this is my square camera. It's going to use the advanced mask filter with all the settings. I want it to get the values so that I don't have to touch anything. And then I know for a fact that for the other one, because it's the extended version, it's basically the exact same thing. So I'm going to duplicate that and say this is full width or full or whatever. You can name it however you want. And just change this to 1920 by 1080, meaning that now that shape specifically, when it's going to move from scene A to scene B, is going to transition while keeping all of the thing because it's a mask specific to where you are. This only works if the user is usually centered to the camera most of the time. If it's not, you will have to change the center X and Y to match the user specific camera angle. Most of the people that are using a camera are usually centered to the camera to an extent when they are presenting. But that is the thing. By having move transition, you basically have these two things transitioning, which means that now if I had this element right here, and I'm going to keep it in the center of the stream because it makes sense, and say on macOS, in my filter on the Mac screen, I want to have a move source in the scene filter. And that source in the scene filter is just color, whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's going to take my new thing, which is called the color source, which is right around here. And that color source, there is no custom duration. It's taking the same duration as the usual thing. It doesn't have any transform. And the only thing that we need to do or say is that the start trigger is when it activates. And the simultaneous move, or the thing that happens at the same time, is my container thing's color source is currently using the square filter that's inside of that source. Cool. So that thing, I'm going to just not duplicate it. Sorry, I'm going to copy that one to have it. And then in my chatting scene, because it's going to be the easiest thing, I'm going to have my color source that we just added right around here. We're going to make it a bit tinier, right? And in that same situation, even though you can't see it, this is early. Let me just go back there so that you have the thing. In the chatting scene, I'm going to take the camera itself, like that scene specifically, add or just paste the filter itself that I just added for the color source, and say that when I'm arriving here, I'm switching from square to full. So now that this is specified, if I move from this scene to that scene, it transitioned automatically to have the different thing. The main difference, the main details that I have is that right here, this element is transitioning at like 300 millisecond, and my whole transition in the view is 1200. So there is a bit of a like a bit of a delay that I don't want. So I'm gonna go back into my filters right there, go into the square for the move transition thing, and then in the custom duration, I'm gonna just uncheck these two things so that now they are taking the same transition length as my scene transition, so that everything is moving at the same time. So based on what you currently have with your thing right here and your thing right there, 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 like your two things, because they are already independent corners thing, they will move accordingly if you, so, yeah, accordingly, based on how things are behaving and placed across your scenes and so on. So that's the way of creating these transitions. And then for the zoom, it's basically just defining that on another scene it's a bit bigger than on the other. So if I'm making it like way bigger here and then moving there, it's gonna just resize itself. But you already have that, so that's fine. Um, but yeah, um, you need the move filter, but the move filter is the same thing. So the move transition filter is the same thing, I think. It is the same thing. But yeah, that's the type of thing that needs to happen in order for you to just get the exact same output. I'm gonna just delete these because it makes no sense to get that. Um, but yeah, that's the how. Simple how, but that's the how, and that's how you can avoid getting these transition thing that we have right about here. There. The rest is really good. The rest is really good. As I said, like these corners are going to be matching properly, and so on. I guess the only thing that I didn't mention, I know, obviously, I should have just kept that here. God damn it. Can I do that? Can I comment Z? Yes, I can comment Z. God damn. The last thing that you need right here is adding um, another filter on top of that, which is uh, it's the glow shadows filter, which is also the stroke filter right here. And so you need to add a stroke to that element. I'm gonna use for the color itself. I'm gonna use bright red so that it's visible. You can kind of see it. And let's do a stroke size of 4. And you will have the need for an offset. So that's the thing. And then you need a padding around your element to make sure that your element is going to be resized properly inside of the stroke itself. So it doesn't really matter what you do. But with that specific plugin, it's the exact same situation. If you go for the full size or the square size or whatever, your container, the way that you have it set up right now, will have the proper representation of the very thin white outline that you have like created, which is probably like a 2 points, 10 points, whatever, with that size of things. And yeah, that's easy. So everything is based on finite singularity plugins, and it's good. But yeah, that's the last thing that you needed to make sure that you have everything in place and working and good. No, I'm not working with Source Clone. I used to have Source Mirror when I was on PC, and then since I moved to macOS, doesn't really exist. So no. Most of the things that would need a source clone, for example, is this. These transition, these things that apparently doesn't work right now for reasons. What happened? Why not working? Yeah, that's working. But yeah, that would need some sort of a duplicate clone of the source, but that's not what I did. Um, why is it not working here? Now it's working? It is. It just needed to be started. I get it. But yeah, no, that's the base. That is the thing. Um, it's not. Yes, kinda. Basically, when you have an element that you have in multiple scene, it is the same exact stuff. So, for example, my iPhone that is in all of my scenes because it's on the side and it's hidden, so that when I'm moving from one to the other, it's just like load the thing from the right angle and so on. That is going to have and use all of the same filters in effect right away. Um, and that's it. So for you, you just have one camera source that just has your effects once, specifically with the way that you have your corner radius set up. Um, you should be good. Like for me, when you're looking at like the corner radius right here, it is a bit different in between right now and right there. Like it's not the same amount. It's a bit bigger and so on. It's also because the shape is bigger and such. Here it's the same thing, but I wanted to have like a bit of a bigger corner radius to kind of match the iPhone, but not necessarily match it properly because it's too much. But yeah, that's the thing. It's one single scene or one single source that has the same filter. The thing that needs to happen most of the time is when you are on whatever source scene transition, you need to have a source, a move source plugin here that just like teach OBS and the plugins and the move transition plugin to say exactly what needs to move and so on, which is really cool. I don't know if I have. Um, that's also true. I don't know if you remember, and I don't know if you've been here when I had these ones, but I used to have automatically animated stuff all the times for, I mean, I do. Like, for example, the new followers for the day, for example, is right there. When someone follows, that's triggered. So that's a move transition. That's just one of the filters of the follower element itself. It has basically one filter of move source that just rotates the thing. And yeah, like that's the type of thing that I used to have. I also have like so much more in the rendering and so on to make sure that it works. But yeah, um, I would say for Stony, for example, because the scene there is no camera, there is no VTuber. Could be a VTuber, but that's not the case. And the only thing that you're seeing is the IDE. I don't know if it's necessary to have like a fancy thing, other than potentially transitioning in between the BRB and the currently streaming page. Not a lot of needs for very fancy things. But yeah, no, overall, layout is really good. Uh, that's pretty cute. Animation is nice. Transitions are nice, except that one that I just mentioned. Um, but it's neat. It is really nice. Um, it reminds me of it reminds me. Do you load? Thank you. Um, of the one that I kind of bought a long time ago. Iridescent is really similar in terms of what you have in the background, and the new Holo is also kind of similar in terms of their presentation. So yeah, the thing that I don't like about these ones though is that it is using stinger transition, and the stinger transition are kind of complex. Um, but yeah, I love these things. I've been using that for a long time, specifically that alert. This one, the new one, like the auto, is fine, but I feel like some of these animations that they have, you could potentially reuse or get as a reference. Um, but yeah, I mean, they have fun with their stuff, but it's the same thing. Like that, the transition that they have is the simple pan through, and that's it. So I don't know. I don't know, but they're doing good work though. That's the only thing that I would say. It's they're doing good. Nonetheless, you did good. You did pretty good. It's just like I'm a sucker for nice transitions when it comes to scene transition in on their own. Like it needs to have so much or I take so much care, I would say, in making sure that everything is moving in the right place at the right time and so on. If you and I know it's a bit different, but like if you think about it when you're building your scene, make sure that anything in scene A that needs to be hidden in scene B is either present in scene B and where it needs to end up, or um, or make sure that your setup for the move transition is display or element that are disappearing or away from center so that it's always going away and doesn't really bother you. The last point is make sure that if you are moving some things outside of the view, make sure that they are not rotated. If they have a bit of a slight rotation, they might still be visible in some cases just by a smidge because they need to kind of stay rotated because their center is not exactly the same thing. I know. I'm speaking gibberish right now. But yeah, the center point being in the center makes it a bit of an issue. Or being not in the center, that's the issue. Nonetheless, it is that simple, but make sure that your layers are also in the exact same order. So right now, for example, I have my alerts followed by my followers, followed by my camera, and then the iPhone, and then the screen capture and so on, which means that my iPhone is on top of the screen capture. And so when I'm on the Mac right here, it needs that like I need to have the iPhone at least at the same level as the screen capture or above it so that it doesn't really glitch. Like right now, for example, if I were to move the iPhone underneath the screen capture and I move from this scene to the iPhone, you can see how there is a split second, which is in the exact middle of the transition, where the iPhone is just popping in, and that's not what you want. You you don't want it to disappear. You want it to be smoothly transitioning in between two scenes. So when you're doing so and you have them in the exact same stack, if I'm moving in, the iPhone is sliding from the right side properly, and then same thing when it's sliding out. So that's the type of thing that you need to remember when you're ordering your layers and your scene source, whatever. Um, but yeah, one of the things that I've done is using sub sources. So I'm not using duplicate or like source copy or whatever. I'm using sources like my follower source, the thing that is underneath me right now, is a full source specifically dedicated to the follower things, and it it's reused all over the place. My alerts is the same thing. All of my alerts are in one place, and all of my audio is like one single element that is just used in one environment, but that's it. Like that's the type of thing that I'm making sure every time kind of works. Um, so yeah, just ordering things and lettering your sources. It's going to be useful in the end. But yeah, nonetheless, really good. I really like the background though. That's good. That background, be good. Good background. We like it. We like it. You said though the thing that I'm like, um, you said something earlier. You said, um, can I read? Oh yeah, no, that's fine. You're welcome. Have a good luck. Thanks a lot for the raid again. But yeah, that's good. That is good. You did nice. You did nice. We have, so as I was saying earlier, I'm doing like a lot of marketing things with TikTok specifically right now, which is what pisses me off the most. But I'm trying to make sure that people have um like
Tickly
understood stuff.
Monster gifted props_TV a subscription. Tickly Monster gifted a tier 1 sub to props_TV.
Not the last one. Cool. Tickle, welcome on in. Thanks a lot for the gifted subs. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Why though? Pot, hi. Welcome on in. Good bangs. That's nice. I know I haven't seen you. If you're lurking, you're lurking. But like, yeah, good bangs. It's nice. Uh, I see things. So yeah, nonetheless, this is where I am right now. This one is making more numbers than expected, and I don't know why. Other than the thumbnails is nice, but I don't think. I mean, no one sees the thumbnails anyways. So this one has been pushed for more people. I need to analyze what happened and so on. I have some messages that I need to check because I'm DMing people to see who would be like interested in the app and so on. But goddamn, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I didn't know we could have that. Hmm. 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 That's a crazy one though. I hate it. Um, but yeah, that's the type of thing that I need to work on, making sure that I have the biggest faces every time when I can, so that it's straddle people. Makes sense. It makes sense. Maybe I don't know. All of these things are supposed to have titles, but they don't have titles for some reason. Makes no sense. Nonetheless, but that whole thing, that whole marketing things is the most annoying parts. I need to basically be 24/7 on my phone, which is already the case, but still more than usual. And be sure that I like answer messages, reply to people, send messages. It's a lot. It's a lot. Also, um, yeah, that doesn't change anything, but yeah. So yeah, if you have, as always, if you still have design question things to review, feel free to share. can take a look. But you know that overlay is really nice. I know that props is plugin, so not necessarily linked to that, but it's very important, at least to me, to have elements in the layout follow through from scene A to scene B. You can have like faded transition, and that would be okay, but it feels wrong to me when you know that you have the ability to move things around. I would rather have a move transition than something else, and the move transition itself can 100% like just properly resize things. Um, so yeah, like that's the most important thing I would say for me, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not moving to other streaming platform like Meld. Meld has a move transition that is built in, which works the exact same way, kinda. But it ends up being or having things in there that just doesn't or don't make any sense, as some automations that you have in the move transition plugin itself is not available in Meld by default. And the way that Meld is basically managing your sources doesn't make any sense to me. So it's just a personal thing. I think, again, for people that are just starting streaming or thinking about streaming and so on, Meld is a very good tool because it's just that simple. But God dang, I'm missing things. I'm missing some small quality of life improvements here and there to, you know, get that rolling. Like it's a nice overall simple overlay system. And as we said, like we have the ability to just add stuff and play with whatever source we have. I have some corner radius. Like the thing that I want to do most of the time is usually this. This is that easy. So that's good. But in the transition, in this thing that you're doing, you end up with weird things because I can't necessarily take that source. I need to copy and paste it here, and it's not necessarily the same thing. Meaning that if I change one of the values here, um, it it doesn't really go through, and you can see kind of how the transition itself has a bit of a fade-ish situation when I'm moving from scene A to scene B. I mean, it's mainly the browser source here, but like it's kind of weird to me to have all of this. Um, like I don't know, something's bothering me with it. Nonetheless, it's a good tool if you are someone that is interested in like streaming, and you don't really know how to set up OBS because OBS is daunting and it's big and it's complicated and so on. Meld is really good. Um, it has like a lot of very good thing when it comes to multi-output. So like right now, for example, I'm making sure that I have different things in different sources, different output in Canva that's built in. That's really cool. I can stream to multiple platforms at the same time, but also have like changing the stream titles, changing the chat rules and so on right from here, which is really cool. And it has like some built-in elements that are useful, like the widgets, um, confettis, and so on. The thing that you can add to the views to just like, the thing that I have when you are seeing and being here for 10 times in a row, like you have the confetti, is basically the same thing. So it's useful. It doesn't make any difference, but it's useful. But yeah, no, Meld is really good for that specific use case. Like it's gonna be useful for people that don't have the time or don't want to take the time to learn how OBS is working, and that's fine because again, OBS is complicated. OBS is complicated. But then that specifically that thing that I just did with the move transition filter on the source itself and then add it to the scene itself in order to get that transitioning properly. That's not something that a lot of people are doing because it takes a lot of time and you need to think of it in a way that most people don't think of. So my way of thinking about it is like you are defining keyframes and defining triggers inside of your scene. So you know that in scene A, some things needs to happen. Like for example, here I'm on the scene chatting. My camera is clear. My corner radius are specific. The chat is in a specific position. The currently following is in a specific position, and so on. On the starting soon scene, I have element coming from the side. I have my camera that is blurred, and I have that following that is in the bottom left corner situation. So that all of these things, these filters for the blur of the camera, for the corner radius, for the layout of the camera, and so on, all of that is managed by the Move Transition plugin, specifically by the Advanced Mask, which are really good, which I think I should probably have a button on my Stream Deck for that because it's useful. Yeah. um, basically, anything that is here. If you are someone that is streaming, that wants to be streaming and so on, and use OBS specifically, that's the main thing. Yeah, you just come here. That's it. You come here and you play with it. So the composite blur is the one that I'm using for the BRB scene and the starting soon stream scene as well. The stroke and glow, like the stroke glow shadow, is the one that I showcased for the offset of the outline, which is really useful. The advanced mask is the one that you want, and then the retro effect is it's one that I use at times, not necessarily on this scene collection, but yeah, these three are the one that you kind of need, and then there is Xeldro that is doing move transition. Cat, hi, we're calling. How's the day going? You're late. Late. That's shader filter. That's not. It's not the same thing. I see. So yeah, same thing. Xeldro is really good for other plugins if you are looking for other activities. So yeah, move transition is the one that you want. I know that the source clone is the one that you talked about earlier, which I haven't tried, and there is another one that I haven't tried, which I know is good, but I think it's downstream keyer. Or it's something else. I forgot. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I think in downstream keyer. Let me just check that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's the one, but there is another one that is basically giving you the ability to get filters on the entire stream at once rather than having them per scene situation. So that's a thing. Going back to what I kind of said at once, and I'm talking about it sometimes, often. I don't know. Basically, at one point in the streaming of me, I had the entire stream in one scene. And so every time I pressed the Stream Deck button, it was a trigger for filters on that scene. It was moving things around. And it was just one single scene. That was pretty cool. It was really cool until one day my Stream Deck decided to die, and then I couldn't change scene at all because I mean, it was a set of redefined action, but I couldn't do that. So yeah. Um, I mean, yeah, you can do that. That's an option. That is free will. You can do that. Yeah, 100%. I've I moved to a different machine today. There's a lot more people in the morning than there used to be, and that pissed me off. I know why. I know why. But goddamn. Like, it's basically the regular cycle of people in the summer were outside all the time and not really in the gym and, doing things outside. And so now that it's cooler and colder, they are coming in the gym in the morning. They are making sure that the indulgence that they did while they were like outside partying and so on, they need to shed it off. So they're back. It's really interesting. It's also really interesting to see like the same people that are coming back after a certain amount of time that you haven't seen them for a while, and they're coming back and you say, "Oh, I see, I see." But yeah, it's interesting. Most of uh, the treadmills are broken at the gym right now, and most of the machine that I have are kind of broken. And the thing that pissed me off the most, brace yourself, I know, they had Halloween decoration, and since November 2nd, it's now Christmas decoration already. Uh, there's a Christmas tree, there is uh, some light shows stuff. And already, it's too early. It is too early for the Christmas stuff. Yeah, makes no sense. Makes no sense. Uh, but yeah, Kat, you probably have heard that. You will be happy to hear that I have gone for the blood test. I don't have the result yet, but yeah. Uh, Anyways, that's the thing. That is the thing. Um, hmm, interesting. But um, overall, I don't know. Overall, I don't know. We don't have a lot of things. Like I have a card to design, but I just don't know exactly how I want to design it yet. So it doesn't make any sense. And also because I lost all my fonts, I don't think I have access to the fonts inside of Figma directly, so that's going to be really bad. We don't like that. We don't like that idea. Um, but yeah, from the thing that I talked about earlier, which is basically in the app itself, where you have um, stuff right there, and you have your perfumes and so on, and I want you to be able to share like your perfume collection entries to anyone, so that you can just share that. That makes sense. That's a view that makes sense to be shareable. You have the perfume bottle, you have the olfactory senses profile, and then the notes underneath. That makes sense. But I don't want social effect. So it's just gonna be like a share button in there to make sure that you share the thing, and that's it. But something's bothering me, and most of the things that are bothering me are the fact that the olfactory profile doesn't make any sense I mean, it does help, but it doesn't really make any sense for sharing that on social, not entirely. So when I'm looking at stuff like things right about, I don't know if that's going to be here. Just make sure. Just make sure, Um, I guess. Yeah, that's a pretty okay presentation, right? This person, for example, is doing a presentation that is pretty simple. You have the bottle, the notes, and the bottle again, and then there is their thoughts on everything underneath. That makes sense. But then if you go into something else, like uh, which one was it? Something like this one, for example. That's all you have. Like you don't have more than this, and it's just the bottle at the top with the notes and the notes underneath. So that's, um, you know, that's the thing. And anyways, it doesn't really matter. That's the thing that I'm like debating right now in how to render it and how to present it. Mainly because I don't want to have something that is too different than what I currently have here. Like I kind of want to have this card to remain like Discord and be inside of the app, but the thing that you're sharing with other people might be a bit different. So something like this, I guess, might be a good reference. Discord, for example, that has like a bit of an interesting things to it, could be interesting to have as a presentation for the perfume itself. And it could be that simple of having like the bottle of the perfume right here, the name of the perfume here, and then the notes underneath, and then be done with it. The thing that I have a bit of an issue with is that the notes itself, or the bottle itself, when I'm gonna have it here, it usually doesn't take any much, like that much space. You have a ton of details or a ton of space on both sides of the perfume bottle that would then like basically the bottom here would be the notes, which is fine. But like that's the type of thing that I'm debating, unsure, to be checked. It's not great. It's not great. I don't know. I'm yeah. I'm debating, and the debate is not giving me any more results. Like I'm just unsure. That's what it is. So we'll see. We'll see when that happens, if that happens, and so on. But yeah, why is it an offense? That's the question. Um, what's the reason? Is there a reason? It doesn't feel like something that can have a reason, depending on how it's taken. But yeah, yeah. I I have thoughts. Yeah, but it's the exact same thing as usual, and that pisses me off. It's the thing where basically, oh, apparently cat chats is broken. That happens. Uh, it's basically the thing where if if someone approaches me and they are not my type, I'm gonna have a very different reaction than if they are my type. So I get it. Most people are not necessarily the type of other people, which, that makes sense. But at the end of the day, someone that is your type that approaches you is not a criminal offense because you're not reporting it and you're not doing anything about it. So, that's the thing. And then, yes, 100%, if they are not your type and you report it, that's a criminal offense. That's the thing. But that also means that a lot of people will probably not do anything anymore. And then both sides are going to complain about the fact that they are not getting approached by other people that they are trying to meet. So that it makes no sense. Like it's really, I get it. It's for safety reasons, but goddamn, um, that's the thing. That's my take on these. I don't feel like it's in any way, shape, or form a necessarily negative and or positive thing. It's just a deterrent in case, right? In case it is a repeated thing, it's an harassment thing. Yes, I get it. What? Just going towards someone and telling them something positive. I don't know. I don't know. There's also a very interesting thing that I've seen before, which is like you approach someone and you ask them like the question of, are you interested, whatever you want to do it, it doesn't really matter. And then if they say no and you insist, yes. If they say no and you move the fuck out, you respected the reactions and their choices and what they wanted to do, and therefore that's good. Most people don't do that, I know. But still. So, yeah. Oh, it's 2024. Um, yeah. Mm. Eh, yeah. This is too like sexual harassment specific, I would say. So what Kat said is fine because it's just like complimenting someone else in a way. Um, Specifically if it's in the way that Kat would do it, as in going in, saying something, getting out because stress. But yeah, it's a good thing. Nonetheless, it's a good thing that sexual harassment is a criminal offense. But I don't think what Kat has described was sexual harassment. But then again, with these laws and the way that they are worded, it's always kind of weird. It benefits me a lot. Um, So yeah, that's catcalling, which is similar. Um, yeah, I mean, I do like some of their points, right? They it is difficult to obtain like a concrete case for many offenses because it's usually in places where there is no witnesses, and it's like, um, yeah, yeah. Hmm. I mean, nonetheless, it's a good thing. We as French have finally decided that consent was something that was necessary, and now it is in the law. So same thing, basically, since 2025. It passed, so now someone says no, it's non-consent. Good, but goddamn, it took us a long time. I'm not gonna lie, this is not necessarily what should have happened or how it should have happened, but yeah. Um, yeah, in cat, I agree with that. It's fun that cat chats is on my phone and not. Um, yeah, it is the intention. That's basically what I'm saying. That what you're saying, cat, specifically on your side, is you would just give a compliment in a way. But that goes back to the initial meme of uh, if it's someone that is your type or if it's someone that is not your type, it goes in different buckets. So, like a compliment for someone that is not for you or interested or that you are not interested in can feel like not necessarily good, but also it really depends on how things are worded and things are perceived by the receiving end, as always. So we end up with stuff that just, if you don't have the lingo, if you don't know how to speak, and you end up with like, um, I don't know, a weird way of wording stuff, it's not necessarily good. Um, it's not necessarily good. Bitch, get out. So yeah, um, it's. I feel like the law, specifically the one that you shared, Stony, is interesting and good in a way, but it's also, and I hate being that person, but I'm gonna be that person. Based on how it is currently phrased or how I read it, and I can't read. That's it. I could stop there, but I can't read that well, so you know. Mm. Um, the amount of false accusation that could happen with this is going to be greater, and I don't like that. Um, what? Yeah, it's a bit of it's a deterrent-ish, which makes sense. Like it's a way for the government to say, well, anything that is enclosed is going to be considered as, and therefore can be prosecuted, kinda. And therefore, if you do it, and we have proof, and we can show proof, um, eh. So yes, it's a bit complicated. Also, going back to your message, Kat, you said that if a man does that, um, If a man does that to a woman, it's fine. Of saying like, sorry to bother you. You have a nice physique. Have a nice day. It would be okay, but men, sorry, men again, usually don't stop there. They don't say have a nice day and then move out. They try to keep the conversation. That's the fucking issue. 99% of the time. So, yeah. I had Instagram open for the chat on the side. But yes. So, eh, I just wish people just stopped, but also I yap a lot, so I figured like last time that I had my new neighbors, the one from 2 floor down that just moving in. The wife is from America and the husband is from Luxembourg, and then their daughter is gonna be living in the flat. Whole thing, whatever, you don't really care. But it's just like I spent I don't know 20 to 25 minutes speaking with them in the at the elevator door before they moved in, just because I yap a lot. So that happened, but I'm not doing that in the gym. So yeah, um, it could it could be any country indeed. She's Americans, though she's a good one. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that. Um, when I had the Figma event, and I went to the Figma event, and one of the people that I'm talking with, which is in the marketing team and so on, someone asked, "Where you from?" And she said, "California." The neighbor said, "I'm from America." Not like, not I'm from the USA, but she didn't say like I'm from Ohio or I'm from Florida or something. Like she didn't state the state, she stated the country, and that's a first. Usually Americans are saying, "Oh yeah, I'm from Texas," expecting me to know exactly where that is. So most of the time, I'm like, "Where's that?" And then they figured out, "Oh yeah, that's in the USA." Huh? On which side? I don't know. You know, that's the thing. But yeah, I know, but I just want to piss them off. That's the thing. Like it's the same thing as saying, um, "I'm from Amsterdam." Like if I say, "Oh yeah, I'm from Amsterdam" to an American, they don't fucking know where that is. If I'm saying that to someone that has never looked at the map of the Netherlands, not an option. They don't know. So, like that's the thing. It's the same thing as saying like if I'm saying I'm from Paris, that's fine. Paris is recognizable enough for France, but if I'm giving you like another city like La Rochelle, you can. It's right there. It's right here. If you take like the full America that says the span is right there. You have Mexico right here. You have Texas right here. That's like that easy. You know where it is. Um, it is well known, but it's not necessarily well known to like. It makes no sense. Um, and also Amsterdam is a city, so that's different. I would say it's because of states in the states are like region or district. For other countries, at least for France, is going to be regions, which means that it's the same thing as saying I'm from La Drôme. which is a part of France. So dang, right there. It's just, if I give you this and I say, yeah, I'm from La Drôme, I need to say in France because otherwise no one knows, no one understands what that is. Like that's not, you know. Um, but yeah, I kind of know it's right there. It's right about where the name is. But yeah, for example, Amsterdam, I didn't think that Amsterdam was here. I was thinking that it was roughly around here. I didn't know. Like that's the same thing. I have no fucking clue. I have no fucking clue. So, yeah, right there. Center, right. In the technicality of it, right? I understand because of the size of this ship that it makes a lot of sense to say that states are roughly the same thing as small countries instead of the consortium of the European Union, for example. Like, it's roughly the same size. One of the states is roughly the size of one of the countries that we have around here sometimes. So I get it. But also, not really. You are. Um, Let me dox you. Aren't you in one of the fucking island, man Island? Like in the lake? Like right there? Or right here? I forgot. I think you are. But I forgot which one it is. Yeah, dang. That sounds like you. That is the island. That's the thing, yes. Alright, cool. Winning points right there. Winning points. Yeah, no, that happens. That happens. But yeah, no, that's the thing. So overall, eh. Okay, hi, welcome on in. Interesting that you're here for the late stuff. I get it. I hope you're good. Well, wash your hair then, bitch. Get it, welcome on in. It's a camera. That's the that's why it is so high quality. It is a camera. Um basically, um do I have, is it that? Nope, that's not it. That's my webcam. That's the thing. So that's the reason. And on top of that, that's the base lens. On top of that, I have um, that lens on it. So yeah, overall, it's an expensive webcam for most people. It's like I would say in total, it's supposed to be like $1,000, which is not what I paid, but yeah, it's supposed to be like roughly $1,000, if not more, um, just to use as a webcam. Good job, god day. My bank account is really happy. It's not. It is not. Good thing is, I bought them both separately, and I bought them both in basically second hands. The camera, I bought it from someone that didn't know how much it cost, so I'm good with that. And the lens, I bought it in Japan from someone that knew how much it cost, but was second hands Japan, so everything was really clean and still is really clean. So yeah, have a good naked time. Naked time. Yes, yeah. Um, why are you singing K-pop Demon Enter? Right? Yeah. Yeah, it's not a very financially sane thing to do, but I bought it in 2020. Yeah, I bought it in 2020. So since then, it's been 5 years, and that's my usual thing, right? In 5 years of use, almost every day, not really, but like 4 days a week for a long time, 3 days a week, then 2 days a week, and 3 days a week again. You know, the usual. Um, it paid for it. Um, like it paid for itself basically at $1 a day in 5 years. I'm pretty good, specifically because I also use it for calls with clients, calls with companies. It's just so good. But yeah, I'm not seeing it that way. But yes, that thing. Um, I my usual thing is that cost $250. I would say that it's going to be easier, which means that in 250 days of daily usage, it's as if I was paying $1 per day of usage, right? To rent this. Meaning that in less than a year, it's paid for. If I use these for 2 years, it's less than, I mean, not even like a year and a half, it's gonna be 50 cents per day of use, which is really cheap. Then if I use this for 4 years, it's 25 cents. So, it's the same thing with tattoos. It's like the tattoo is costing a lot, but it's with you for a long time. So it is 100% the millennial math for sure. Yes, I do. That's a different type of justification. That's not a justification that I would go behind or be behind. Not for skins, because that makes no sense to me. But that's eh, if you like it. if it works for you, that's the thing. But then again, uh, you know, no problems here. I don't have enough. I I might need a new one. I don't know. I I could do the meme of they are rechargeable if you, or they are reusable if you charge them. Could almost do that. But yeah, no, that's the thing. No, this is just my fourth pair. Basically, I bought the Pros, the first version of the Pros, and then they came in with the Pro 2, which I liked more. So I bought that instead, or not instead, but like I bought that. And then they decided to create the Pro 2's USB-C when I was in Japan. And in order to not have like a lightning cable, I had to buy the Pro 2 USB-C. And then they released the Pro 3, and I said I will not buy the Pro 3 because it makes no sense. The Pro 2s are really good and they work. And then the Pro 2 just basically crashed. And because of that, I had to buy a new pair of something. And instead of going to the Apple Store and buying like a new Pro 2 pair, I just said, you know what, can I get the threes? It's gonna be fine. And now I have the three, and they fixed my twos. So now I have a pair of twos, which are USB-C, which works, which is good, and a pair of threes that are USB-C as well, which work, which I like better. So, eh, eh. I also used to have, and I threw away. I threw away. I gave out a lot of things for recycling and other things. At some point, I was testing out almost every earbuds that came out. So I have bought in 2020, end of the year of 2020, I had bought 3, 5, 7. Yeah, I had like 7 pairs of earbuds just to test them out and see if they were good or bad or better or worse or, that thing. I don't know if Crazy Baby is still a thing. I doubt it. I doubt they still exist, but I bought a ton of these because these are really cool. I had I had the black, the green, and the blues. Nothing changed. Uh, you know. Uh, but yeah, these are really cool. These are very, very tiny earbuds with not such a good battery life, but I needed to test them out, and they are so small. They look like a dildo. We do like that. And yeah, they were just overall really good. But yeah. So yeah, again, I tried like so many. Um, they do though. It's tiny, but yeah, I have. I mean, I can pull them out if you want. Uh, specifically their latest transitions. Um, they are extensible. Yeah, some of the pills. I can't really show you that on stream, but some of the vibrating pills that exist, some of the other things that exist. Um, Kind of the same thing. So yeah, no, I'd sometimes I had like a lot of these, um, and some of them are really good. I don't know if I saved them, and I don't know where they are anymore. I think I might have left them in Japan, because these are the best option. They are the most expensive kind of for earbuds, but they are also the best option. So, you know, um, yeah, it happens. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, no, I personally speaking, this is financially irresponsible. But then again, all the financial irresponsibility happened before I came back from Japan. So yeah, I'm fine now. Timing is always on time. Always on time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, that happens often. The good thing is I know exactly when it will crash now. I have the thing on my desk that basically shows me that internet has been cut. And yeah, now I know. Now I know. I can predict. That's why I just type something in chat right away. Um, mm, mm. But yeah, no, other than that, um, I feel like that's crazy. I feel like um, like the earbuds are better than headphones in some categories, and then the headphones are better than earbuds in other categories. It's just like for the thing that I like to do, earbuds are just so much easier and better to just have all the time because they take no fucking space compared to the headphones that usually take a lot more space for me at least. And yeah, it's just that's crazy. that's a that's a thing. So yeah, it happens. It's fine, but it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. My bank account is gonna be fine. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Probably not. Probably not. um. Yeah, that's a good. That's a yes. That is a good timing. I'm gonna send you to someone because I need to do something, and I know it's early and so on. But yeah. Um. God damn. Why can't I find people? Anyway, we rating. Thanks a lot for being here. As always, I need to do stuff today. So if you want to watch the VOD for some reason, it's going to be on YouTube. As always, let me see if I can just type that instead. That work now? Cool. And if you want to ask a question when I'm not live, the Discord is pretty useful as well. I'm guessing this is not going to work either. Indeed. And yeah, I shall be back on. Hmm. Not working either. Um. that Yes, I shall be back on Friday at 4:20. We'll see when that happens, if that happens, and so on. But yeah, I guess these are not gonna work. Yeah, these are not gonna work. Anyways, you know the drill, you know the links, you know the things. It's the usual. It doesn't change. It hasn't changed. Everything is fine. Um, but yeah, as always, take care of yourself. Eat something, drink something. I'm gonna eat something. And yeah, I'll see you all on Friday. We'll see if we have something planned, but I doubt. I doubt. Anyways, take care of yourself. Bye.
Please.
That's very French of you.